Recording in progress.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Bucks of America podcast. I am your host, Jeff Vance. This is an exciting night. This is the Monday prior to the Iowa Deer Classic, which I have a wide variety of shows showing coming up that week. But tonight, I'm bringing on a young entrepreneur, Dakota, with Legendary TV. He's has his show on the Sportsman channel, which is pretty badass. Hats off to him. And he has a schedule online. So I used some of his pictures to show when you can go find his show online and such. And I'm going to talk to him about Dakota, Legendary TV, how he created and everything like that. So first off, I'm going to roll my new intro. All right. So thanks for tuning in. This is my newest intro. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I thought that was a fun thing. Did everything come through on your end?
Yeah.
So you catch the whole motif of the entire story?
Yeah.
So Dakota, tell me about yourself, sir.
Well, I'm 20 years old. And, I work for our family construction company. I've worked for them since I was in middle school. I had a graphics company, like lines and rain work and things like that. I also had auto DD going. I clean cars, like that. I have two brothers and a sister.
Okay.
An older brother, one younger brother, and younger sisters as well. And you want more of me as well?
Yeah, keep talking, man. This must be your first time being in a podcast scenario, huh?
Yeah, it's my first time.
It's a little bit different because it's like now this is all live, so everything you say it can be used for future purposes, obviously. But
yeah,
I like where you're going with this. It's like you work for your family's construction business. You do a car detailing on the side, and then you got into hunting. I mean, I'm looking at your background here, which is absolutely phenomenal, and you got some stud bucks in the back there.
Yeah.
Are these all yours, or is this the compilation of all your families plus yours?
This is actually all mine here. These are all mine.
Wow. So I take it you do a lot of private land hunting. Is that what's up?
Yeah. We have a couple farms. We got a couple farms. I do most of my there, and now with the I've been more out of state the last 2 or 3 years. Most of these are my Iowa bucks.
All right. Let's see here. Now, why don't you tell us about like some of your youth? What were some of your fondest memories of hunting when you first started going out there with your dad or your grandpa?
I hunted a few times with my grandpa. He used to hunt blind. Always bring up a bunch of dogs. I remember. That was something I remember. My dad, I kept my dad. It was a butt and since on the ground, had a crossbow, and about 5 yards, and first up to get tree, and that was my first year I shot. And, it took me 5 or 6 years before I ever got my first buck. It was just a nice corner, and after that first I was hooked. That's all I wanted to do. Turn into what I can't off of it.
That's awesome. Those are some really good memories. So what age were you when you took your first buck?
My years old. I took my first buck.
Wow. So you very cool. Now, was this with a crossbow, a gun, or a bow?
Yep, it was my first two crossbow.
Nice. That's a pretty unique thing to see. So now I take it was your. So why did your parents choose to set you up with a crossbow instead of a gun?
I don't know. I had grandpa were big ears, and really my dad was really big. And I got me started. Really, I never scared with a gun. I think I was 17 or 18 years old. I just killed all my deer. I just really enjoyed that. That's yeah. I enjoyed bow hunting.
Very cool. Yeah, I've used to be strictly gun hunting. Now all I do is bow hunt. I do get invited to do deer camp, but it's always during the Thanksgiving week, and I don't really prioritize gun hunting or like I do with bow hunting. So it's like, if you want to do Thanksgiving, let's do it over Halloween because that's when all the big bucks are moving, or you do it right during Veterans Day, because that week right there, that's when the rut's like at the peak here, I swear. Like here in Wisconsin, there in Ohio. And I'd rather just dedicate that. We call that my Thanksgiving week because I'm giving thanks to the veterans to make this our land of the free, but also being able to get some mental health out there while I'm out in the wilderness and waiting for the right buck to walk in front of me, whether he has 4 points or he has 18 points.
Yeah, they're all true. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's the way you look at it, because it's like it's the meat in the freezer, the trophy, right?
Oh yeah. That's my most important thing. I eat all year long. That's most important.
Perfect, man. So do you mix in any waterfowl or small game or upland game bird?
I never done duck geese hunting or anything like that. I tried to just grab one. I never had opportunity. I've eaten it before and really like.
I gotcha. Well, it's always good to experiment and try new things. You know, I had Michael Waddell on last week, and we talked about he actually used to be executive chef for a 1-star Michelin restaurant there in Colorado, and so on Friday we released an episode of just some fantastic recipes, and I post them in the show notes so this way you can go and actually copy them. But he's got this mean bear loin with this coffee sauce. It's absolutely just sounds delicious.
Really? Yeah. That sounds good.
Oh man, yeah. He's got just a wealth of information and such, and he likes sharing. He likes teaching people how to do this stuff, and he's gonna plan on doing some fun stuff for over the next couple of years. I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with, because now his main direction is just working with the Mountain Archery Fest. Now, do you guide or anything like that, or you just primarily just help your friends and family out?
No, I never guide. I just my friends I film my brothers out and a lot of times just ran back and forth, film each other. That's how I
Okay. Now, I was watching one of your videos that you posted here a couple weeks ago. Is that gal your sister, or?
That was my girlfriend.
Oh, your girlfriend. Okay, that's what I was wondering when I saw her when you had her set up on some deer and stuff like that. And when her first 70-yard shot with the crossbow. I mean, that's pretty lengthy for anybody for what this. Like, that's pretty impressive just to drop that arrow, that bolt in at 70 yards for a whitetail.
Yeah. She actually never grew around hunting, and she do it. And about 2-3 years ago, I hired her in this crossbow, and we moved out and got her first 3 years ago, and then ever since I was going out outdoors, even the blind or likes to go. That's pretty awesome.
That's fantastic, man. It's always fun introducing new people to the sport, because you just don't get it until you actually put yourself behind the trigger. You watch the animal walk in, and you carefully wait for either the biggest one to show up or the best shot, the most ethical shot, you know? And I watching the video, and so I haven't watched it completely yet. But the nice thing is your long form content hits that 7-minute rate right there, and I think that's like the perfect to tell a really good story.
Yeah. I try to keep around that. I feel like sometimes long kind of lose sometimes. But yeah, she really enjoys it. I like taking out kids more than I like hunting anymore. Like film and being teaching you hunters that there. I do a handicap every year a place down I call the Jurassic Park, and they do an event here, and we have a farm down there. I guess I kind of guide, I hunt there, and I film it. A lot of wheelchairs, so we reach out and blinds, and I filmed the last 4 or 5 years. That's one of my favorite doing now.
Fantastic, man. There was an Accessible Hunter. He's on Facebook and such, and he shoots for VIP archery, similar to what I shoot with the VIP as well. And he is just ecstatic about it. He's just so motivated to get people out in the ground blind and getting folks that are wheelchair bound to show them there's a whole another life to it. And like the nice thing is, like, since you brought that up, I was gonna bring up, like, Michael Waddell actually introduced, like, he took his kids course and he also focused it around folks that are in wheelchairs, but on the nice mobile tracks and stuff, which is pretty cool. He's the only guy out there that has done this. Like Mountain Archery Fest or TAC doesn't do it. The R100, you can, depending on where you're at, some fields will allow you to be, like, they're pretty well manicured where you'd be able to do it. Like, I know I shoot in their home state here in Wisconsin, in Sparta, and that course is set up where you can drive out with a StabiliTrak and stuff to be able to drive around through everything. So that's pretty neat. But that's pretty cool to have it all done. Where I want to get into next is your videoing. So what got you into video? I just started doing video editing, and I tell you what, it is a whole nother nightmare.
Yeah, that is tough, and it took me a while to learn, and I started my year 10 years ago. One, I can't film my hunts, film my family. My dad got me $1 when I started there, and I took some classes about, I think it was 2016, I took some classes down at that Jurassic Park with Become One. They have film behind them, which was as well, and they have classes on filming, and they have classes on editing. But that's my learning right now. That's been taking a bunch of time to teach and what's up. Yeah, it takes time to learn. I'm not for that, but it's tough, but it's pretty hard to learn different things and get your own good. Like that's what I really want to watch family.
So when you got into editing, is like, what software do you use?
I use a Pro.
Yeah, that's what I use too. It's got a lot of cool features in it, but it's overwhelming because there's a lot of information it throws at you, and you got to be able to position your screen the way you want to so you can see all that fun stuff. And I do like their new AI script that they have, so this way you can do the subtitles and such. And it's not horrible if you're doing, like, I only do, like, I don't know, 10 to 20 second clips. It's not horrible to work with, but it picks up very well, and you're able to change the words and change the font. That's what I like about it most, is like you can go in and change fonts. And so instead of having like a follow the bouncing ball, you can change you can change the color of the font. So this way, then you had that same effect without having to try to do a whole bunch of layering behind it and such.
Yeah, that is pretty nice.
And now, what do you use? Do you film in 4K, or what equipment do you use?
Yeah, I film 4K. I use Sony A7 and I started out with a 30. My third little cam. I'm running the 8 right now with a bunch of lenses. we had audio mics too.
I got you. So what do you use when you're out there in the blind and you're using the microphone? What do you use as a microphone?
There's a shotgun mic we have plugged into the top camera, and then we also run mics for the time. We have another mic top that one, our external another small mic that the first board have him.
I've never thought about clipping the microphone to your cap. That's actually pretty smart. I know that I was talking to Sarah from Lakewood Case, and they were recommending that they'll use the Rode microphones, RHODE. Those are sweet ones, but boy, they're like $300 for like two of them. I was like, man, that's expensive. But then again, this microphone right here is like $180. So, but those are particularly designed for those larger conventions. This is a condenser mic that's designed for here. I'm running an M200 Canon, such like that. When you first started out doing this, like, or if you were to do this all over again, like what would be a good introductory camera that would be able to is good bang for your buck, but not actually spending like $2,000 or $3,000? Because I've looked at some of those Blackmagic cameras, and boy, those are expensive.
Yeah, pretty expensive. I'd say I think start out with just a $300 or $500 camera, and I just start filming. Even GoPro, I mean, they're so clear, and they're a little more wider, but I mean, just start something like that. You need to film and just learn, keep working your way up towards something. That's how we. It gives you a way to learn too. Learn how to run it.
Okay, I gotcha. That's a good insight to have there. I was just wondering so as you've been honing your craft, how did you cross paths with the Sportsman channel?
I was actually shows, and I seen a friend of mine class with me. We're filming Eddie show, and I've been working with him for him and helping with his work, and he gave me the opportunity to his meet there and to guys that work there, and I had to pitch one of my episodes to them and kind of get my up and wait a little while, me back. We're gonna get the opportunity to go, and they got out of here. That's how I started on horse.
That's pretty cool. It's a really nice opportunity that you got to be able to work with them. I know I've been able to cross paths with a lot of unique, influential people in the outdoor world, and it's like you never would have thought that you'd ever cross paths with them until you meet them online, or you meet them at an expo and such. Like I know this upcoming weekend at the Iowa Deer Classic, I'm going to hang out with my buddy Tyson Trunkill from the Dust Off Project. He also has his own shop called the Sticks and Stone Archer. And the Dust Off Project that he created here a couple of years ago, it's essentially what they do is they accept donations for bows that are like less than anywhere between 8 to 10 years old, no older than 10, and then newer than that. And he'll service them, and then what to do is he'll donate that bow to somebody that's been in the armed services, an EMT, police officer, and just kind of giving back to the community and such. And I think it's just a beautiful program. But I wouldn't have never met him if it wasn't for Chris Ham from HHA USA. And it's fun that you can meet these people, and your spider web just continues growing and growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's it is great. Like how meet someone through just keep going. I mean, I've got Brian meeting friends, other people, them growing, and that's how I every day. Social media, I've seen your podcast out there and followed along ever since. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you follow for so long. You know for years. Sometimes that person following along, talk to him work on social is something.
That is a unique thing about what we have with social media. You're able to have a conversation with somebody, but you can follow along with their entire life, and you can always follow up with them. It's like, hey, I remember that hunt you went back on in Iowa. Where I watched you go to Wisconsin. Like, you can be able to ask them more questions from posts that you saw that they did a few years ago, and it allows you to have that opportunity to actually ask questions that are being starstruck. So this way you have these memories you can be able to go through. Like I had an opportunity to meet Steve Ranella and Giannis Patelis here a few years ago when they were here in La Crosse when we went to the Viterbo, and they did a speech on it, and it was free, and it was just an amazing experience to watch these guys do. But I'm a sneaker because I've done this in the past where if you're going to go to a meet and greet or if you're going to do a book signing, you want to be at the very end. It's like, granted, it sucks. It's going to be a long night, long drive home, but you have the opportunity to actually sit down and actually have a conversation, because if you're the first 10 people, 15 people, and there's another 100 people behind you, your conversation will be very short. But if you're patient and you wait longer, you can actually have conversations with everybody. You can ask them questions and all that fun stuff. And that's what I found I recommend for anybody. That's what I've been able to have conversations with, like Joe Rogan back before he made the transition to larger stadiums. I was able to actually have a conversation with him when he was still doing the smaller clubs here in the area. And it was just pretty cool to actually ask him questions. And this is 2015 when the first time I met him, and we were talking about Hoyt bows and stuff like that, what drew to him and stuff like that. And it was just nice to have that candid conversation with him.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's I'm gonna definitely that makes sense. Be patient. Remember that post, and you get out there, talk to a little bit more. That's advice.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't learn that until my good friend that introduced like, hey, let's go see Joe Rogan and such. And he was the one that's like, hey, we're gonna go do this and stuff like. And he just kind of spun from there. So now I just take advantage of that wisdom, and I just try to pass it on to everybody else, because now since everything's been opening up, it's like you got to take advantage of being able to go see these folks when they're on tour and such. Because I'm not sure if Steve Ranella I don't think he's released his new schedule yet, but I know he does he'll go into different events and he'll speak and such, or if he's promoting a new book, just got to pay attention to that fun stuff. I know. Who is it? Like Dr. Jordan Peterson, he does the same thing too, but you can actually spend a little bit extra money. You can actually end up doing a meet and greet. We actually pay a little bit more, where you can actually meet Dr. Jordan Peterson. And wasn't able to go to it last year because it canceled. Then he rescheduled for February. Well, you and I both know, living in the Midwest, you never know when there's going to be a nasty snowstorm coming on, and it's 3 hours away one way. So it's like you can turn into a very long day.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. I have a friend of mine, Max, in the chat log here. He's a loyal fan. He always chimes in and he listens into it and stuff like that. I always use him as a soundboard to make sure like all of our audio sound good and such. So which is always good to hear. So, do you plan on? Do you primarily just film and hunt in Ohio then?
Yeah, but like last 3 years, I have more hunts like go out here, just trying to get on and really actually enjoy going. Just different like seeing how different looks compared here, and I start to enjoy that. I trips now. Last originally, all I hunt, but I still more than I do for owls.
Okay, so do you have anything planned for the turkey season coming up? Are you going to primarily Ohio, or are you going to go off to Kentucky or Tennessee, or?
I'm going to go down to Florida for the Odyssey. I'm right there March sometime. And I'm going Iowa, you have to all tab out there. Turkey tag there. Last year, it's a place I did last year. And after that, I'm going property out in Kentucky, and my brother are going to hunt out there. So I'm going to go down and my camp film and do down there, and going down to Tennessee, hunting down there. Now fly in Ohio,
Wow, that's a pretty busy season. Now, did you know this, that you can actually, that Nebraska actually has an archery only season?
Really?
Yeah, they actually have it's actually coming up next, literally the end of this month, end of March, or is it? Yeah, I think it's the last. I think the gun season starts the first week of April. Don't quote me on this. And it's like then the last 3 weeks of March, you can go out there hunt. It's strictly, and it's all on public land. And you can get 3 tags, so you can get potentially up to 3 birds. It's $160 or something like that per bird. And there's plenty of camping out there too. I was working on planning a trip to go hunting this spring. Well, then my buddy had a kid, and then I took a promotion. So it's like, well, I'm still there's a lot too many things that weren't going to line up for us to be able to do it comfortably without having some type of a consequence. So what we end up doing is we actually doubled down, skip the turkey season. We're actually going to have a much more fruitful summer, because we're going to because we got math, I'm not going to do a tack, but I'll go to R100, several other 3D shoots and such, ASA tournaments. So, well, I won't, not necessarily ASA tournaments, but I'll be shooting ASA at some of these 3D scrambles throughout the season.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know they had a post. I went out to Nebraska last year. I did a gun. I didn't know they had that. That's something. Now is why I want to find this. Incredible. Definitely wanted to go back on for sure.
All right. So on your end, you're getting, it's a little choppy. It's something it's being inconsistent with the audio. I'm getting feedback from Max from our audience here. I wonder what could be causing that to happen. If it's because it's stuttering almost.
Okay.
So I wonder, do you by chance have speed test on your phone? It's a app that allows you to test out how fast your internet speed is. And if it's sitting too low, it's probably why we're running into this choppiness, because it feels like I'm only hearing every fourth word.
Okay. I have that.
It's the joys about being live. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay, because sometimes we'll have to just switch to just doing audio only, because like I said, Zoom is a resource hog, and so we want to make sure that the audio is good for the audience too, because otherwise they'll tune out. So speed test, if you go into your home store, your app store, you just type in speed test and download it that way. And it takes only a couple of seconds, but it'll give you a readout on how much bandwidth you're actually going into your phone. And if it's like below like 10, like 8 and 10 megabits down and 1 or 2 up, we run into a lot of hiccups. And then we have to try to find. Then we may have to relocate to closer to your router or something like that. So this way we have a better audio. But otherwise, I love the background.
Thanks. You mean try to put that out?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Would you say it was
Called speed test. While you're doing that, I'm going to go to your went ahead and put your YouTube channel into the chat there, so this way people can click on it and go subscribe. So while he's working on that, folks, please go over, drop a like, go subscribe to his content, turn the notification bell on, so this way then you can go ahead and follow along with his current content and pay attention to what he's going to be doing, because we just got done talking about his busy turkey season. Going to be traveling all over the country, and then hopefully next year the cards work out for him to go out to Nebraska. And then also please go down, drop a like, smash that follow button, turn the notification button on so this way you can tune into me every week.
Now, what am I looking?
When you hit the test, it'll tell you how fast everything's going.
Sorry about that. Ad popped up. Is it like on that?
What's that again?
So I push still have that one show everything.
Yeah, so let's see here. So speed test, when you go ahead and hit go, it'll say connecting, and then it'll tell you what your download speed is, and then after it gets done with that, then it'll tell you what your upload speed is.
Okay. The download is 74, and then the upload it says 10.
That's probably why we're having the issues we are having, because upload is where it gets you. That's where you want to have the ability to get that probability for it. So what we could do is, why don't we go ahead and shut the video off, and we'll just go on audio.
Okay. So just push stop.
Yeah, just stop video. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about your YouTube channel.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have too much time on there. Just kind of working with the course stuff on that. We're looking to start trying to post a video each week on there. I'm excited about that.
Well, that's good. No, have you started working on your shorts yet? The 10 to 15 second clips?
No, I need it. I watch them. Like them, but I look in like that.
That's how you're gonna grow your channel. With with shorts, but it's weird though right now with the algorithm and such that I run 2 different YouTube channels, and it seems to be the algorithm has recently changed, and so when it comes down to the SEO, which is search engine optimization here, we're getting some weird feedback where instead of seeing our normal couple thousand views per video, we're seeing 50, 60, maybe 100 views per video, and it's not quite sure what's going on with the algo.
Yeah, it's odd. Big difference.
So the audio is a little bit better without the video.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey, that is quite all right, man. Sometimes technology is not our friend.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I was kind of curious about with the most recent East Palestine train wreck. How far are you from that?
I'm about 50 miles from there.
Oh wow, so you're really close. So have you been paying attention to the feedback?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Some people are that are a lot closer there. They're real off. I've heard. I haven't heard a bunch about it, but people I've heard back and forth. And I noticed much. First I've talked they're out there. They a lot of them have
Oh man, I know last week they were doing a death toll, and it was right around 43,000 animals that they've counted so far, and that's within a 5 mile radius of East Palestine. Yeah, and that's all aquatic life, and the wildlife for like what it comes down to coyotes, birds, foxes, and whitetail. That's still too early to tell, but I'm sure once people start out there in that area shed hunting, you'll probably start finding more information about the side effects of that to the environment around there. Because if it's in the water, everything's going to be drinking it. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the wildlife in that area is going to be contaminated where you probably aren't going to be able to eat it.
Yeah, I have heard, a bunch of all the crick ponds and stuff. All the fish. Yeah, definitely. That's pretty sad.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's pretty rough, especially when you look at how the big plume cloud moved up. It went northeast and it went into Canada, and I feel bad for that area because now all that surrounding affected area is now going to have a horrible spring because if it snows or if it rains, well, you're going to create an acid rain, and then what's going to end up happening with that? It's going to get all over your soil and such. So the corn, soybeans, if you're growing wheats, any other gardens out there are going to have some type of a contamination on it unless you basically come through or you get a soil test. You test it as deep as you can and test it in multiple spots throughout. Let's say you're doing a garden, for an example. You test it every few feet, and you just take different samples, core samples from different depths, and you just figure out where the contamination is. But if you're only focusing on a garden, now if you 10x that and you go to a cornfield, that's a lot of topsoil that you're going to have to figure out how to remove, because I don't think there is a real way to clean the vinyl chloride and the benzene and some of the other forever chemicals that are in there.
Yeah, that's definitely good. So yeah, the water starts like ground. That's it's gonna be to see how that goes.
With your, so tell me more about with your partnership with the outdoor channel there. What do they expect out of somebody that's creating content for them? Do you have to produce X amount of videos a season, or how many hours, or how does that work?
It depends on you what contract for. Basically different price range, different things. I have an price season. Some shows will be 13, more replay more each year. But the episodes are about I think it's 23 minutes. It's down to that they have for commercials and that. But usually every show has 23 minutes on the show. But every show has a different contract. Usually different for how to have it. But I do 7, 10, and I'm pretty sure per season.
How many per season?
I do 7 per season, but they replay 7 times. I think 40 times on the TV, and then some they have 10 here, and then some they have more times played, more go.
Okay, so everybody's contract will be different, is what you're getting at here, from what I understand here. Let's see here. I'm going to try something here and switch something up here because I want to get better audio clarity from your side here, and I'm not sure if it's my side now or not. So give me just a moment.
Okay.
Let's switch this up here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Dakota? Oh,
Yep,
might help if I actually plug you in to the proper location. There we go. Do you hear me loud and clear,
yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
Dakota?
Yep, I hear you. I can hear you now.
Dakota, can you hear me by chance? I'm about to probably restart this.
Yep, I can hear you.